Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we are going to be making a house mouse decoupage card. I've got some various different coloured paper and I've got this house mouse image. So the first thing we want to do is cut our decoupage. Now I've already cut quite a bit of it. This came as an A4 sheet. So as you can see, I've already cut quite a bit of it out, including the sentiments. I wasn't sure which one I wanted, if not both, so I cut them both out. And I've cut a couple of the layers. I've cut around the main image, so I've just got this one piece left to do. So let's cut that out now. Now when I'm cutting out decoupage, I like to cut using large scissors. I personally find that works easier, but it really is a choice. You could even use a craft knife and cut round, but I like scissors. I find that the easiest. So when you're cutting out decoupage, you want to have your scissors not straight up like that. You want to cut with your scissors at an angle. So you can see you're moving your paper and not your scissors. So then you get to that piece there where there's sort of a junction, and you're going to keep your scissors still and move the paper and move your paper around that circle. And can you see, by cutting at that angle, you're kind of stopping that kind of white edge that you get. And you want really good sharp scissors for this, because you almost don't shut them. You do very little work with the scissors. You're not doing this, because by doing that you're going to be getting sort of distinct kind of parts to the cut, whereas if you cut and you're doing that, you get a much smoother line to the whole thing. Now I'm just going to cut that excess off there to make it easier, and then we're going to just come around here on his tail. And sometimes it's just a little tricky because the angles of the little pieces are so small, and you're sort of got such tiny, like the tail, it's so delicate, so you've got to just be careful. And when you're cutting, it's better to cut almost slightly smaller than going outside of the line. It's better to cut inside the line and have no white than to cut so that you end up with a sort of white border, unless that's what you're going for, because sometimes it's a look where you actually cut so that you have like a white border. Now when you're doing something like this, that's an image where there's distinct pieces and you're building up a picture, you really couldn't do that white border thing.
We fit like two birds in a house on the corner of 6th and 8th. I've gotta say, who would have thought that we'd be intertwined and quite the same? We are the only game I wanna play today and tomorrow.
Okay, so now we have our pieces all cut out, and I've got my layers here ready, so I'm just popping these into order. So basically what you're looking at is each piece is the next biggest layer, so the piece that has the next biggest amount left, and then the next small, you know, so you're going down basically to from the largest to the smallest piece. Usually that doesn't always work, because sometimes the decoupage, for example with these peas, you might find you've built a few of them up and not others, so you know, it just depends, but as a general rule, that's what you're doing. So for this, I'm just going to use my foam tape here. Now I'm putting the foam in the middle here where it's more flat, and then I'm going to use some glue gel on those pieces that are just at the side, like the little peas, etc., so that we can get just a little bit of dimension to that. And then I do want to make sure that piece there has got some glue on it as well. Then we're going to pop each element down very carefully to make sure that it's in the right place. And because we've used our glue gel on the peas and these end pieces here, we can slightly shape them. So if we look from the side, you can see that the peas there at the edges are just slightly lower than the rest of it. Okay, so that's that layer. So then we're going to get my next layer. Then we've got our next layer. I'm just curving him up with my fingers, and I'm just going to use gel. So you can see how effective that looks with that just gentle building, just a very slight curve to our shapes there, and that looks so cool. So we're going to put him to one side and let him dry, and while he's drying we're going to make our card. Okay, so I have scored and folded my yellow piece of card in half to make an A5 landscape card. So we just pop that to one side for a minute. I'm going to then take my green piece of paper here, and I'm going to cut a piece from this that is just slightly bigger, a 1/4 inch bigger than my little house mouse. That looks good. So that's our mat for our house mouse here. So now we can use this to guide us. There we go. Let's see how that fits. So I've got my green mat and my yellow mat, so that's now done. And now I want to cut my card base and this lovely patterned piece of cardstock. I don't want the butterfly, I want the other end. And then we're going to just leave a small margin of the yellow, so it is about 5 3/4 and a little bit. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to just snip this to the right size on the edge here. Probably about there. Perfect. So there's our layers all cut. So we're going to put that on the inside there as well. So that will just add a little bit of weight and interest. Okay, so that's our inside done. And then we're going to do this outside piece. Okay, let's just gently bend it that way. A little. Okay, so just taking this piece now, matting and layering, and then very carefully taking this, because obviously it's probably just a little bit damp still. Okay. Alright, so we've got him, and the intent is to put him into the middle there. We may as well put that down, we know this is going to be there. But what I want to do is an equivalent set of mat and layers using the yellow and the green across the back of that sentiment. So I'm going to stick it down and I'm just going to cut round it by hand. It's not worth trying to make this work by cutting it with beforehand and measuring it and stuff. It just, you'd be there all day trying to get it accurate, to be honest. Okay, and then that piece is going to go across then, and we're just going to use a piece of this foam tape. There we go. And then finally I've made this cute little bow from a polka dot green, which it really is lime, this one, ribbon. Now you could use some glue dot, but I'm just going to use my Cosmic Shimmer here and just pop that down. So although you can see a little bit of glue at the edges there, that will all dry completely clear once that's done, but I think that looks really cute. Okay, so that is our finished card. I hope you've enjoyed making it with me. I think it's turned out really well. I love how the little house mouse is, and these papers go really well with it, I think. I hope you like it too. If you're on YouTube, do make sure you click the link below here and go on across to the blog post, because there'll be lots and lots of photos of the card for you to take a look at. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.
We
Bye.
feel like two birds in a house on the corner of 6th and 8th. I've gotta say, who would have thought that we'd be intertwined and quite the same? We are the only game I wanna play today and tomorrow. This flower's blooming all the same. The grass gets greener every day in our place. I'll visit every Wednesday, our imaginary hey boy. We'll see you soon. Miles scatter all but me and you. Time whispers into my ear and overwhelms petty fears. He speaks so sweet, he says, you'll get days that equal